Hello, we understand this may be inconvenient, but we've identified a discrepancy on your account. Based on the risk involved in your eBay business, this suspension is permanent. Your account will remain restricted indefinitely, and you will be unable to buy or sell items or engage in member-to-member communication. Unfortunately, there will not be an opportunity to appeal this decision, as the safety of our community is a top priority for us. This is a message no reseller ever wants to receive. Just to be clear, this is not about my personal eBay account. This is just an email that I was able to pull off the internet. However, if you are a member of any reselling Facebook groups, you will see this from time to time. Someone will post this email in the group and say, "I don't know what I did wrong or why I'm being removed from the platform." Well, there's a ton of different eBay policies and rules that you have to follow as a reseller. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over many different policies that if you break, could put your account at risk of facing different penalties and even permanent suspension. And some of these policies will absolutely shock you. If you sell on the eBay platform and don't want to lose your account, these are policies that you need to know. I personally believe this is so important that even if you don't have the time to watch this full video, I've put the link to the policies in the description and pinned comment, so no one ever has to get in trouble for not knowing what the rules are. A quick disclaimer before we start. I am just sharing information I have found on eBay's website and things I have heard from other resellers that have gotten in trouble. I do not work for eBay and I do not know all of the answers. If you are unsure of a policy or unsure of a rule, or your account gets suspended or has a policy violation, the only person you should be reaching out to is eBay. They are the ones with the actual answers. Do not take account advice from me or anyone in the comments. eBay is the best source for all the correct information. Remember, everyone speeds, but not everyone gets pulled over. So even if someone says it's okay to do this because I do this and I've never gotten in trouble, that doesn't mean that they won't eventually get caught, or if you start doing it, that you won't be caught immediately. Common sense and a good moral compass can keep you out of most of these situations. Also, keep in mind that eBay enforces these policies at different levels. Some can be as simple as a warning, items being removed, but it can go all the way up to suspension and permanent bans. This is all left up to eBay's discretion. So in my personal opinion, it's best to just follow all of the rules so you don't ever have to worry about losing your account. Now let's get into the actual policies. This right here, these are jarts, and these are actually illegal to sell in the United States. Not just on eBay, but they are completely banned to resell anywhere in the United States. After a lot of people got hurt from these darts with the metal tips on them, the United States made them illegal to sell anywhere, and they highly recommend that they be destroyed. However, if you're a reseller like me, you'll likely run into items like this. Things that are illegal to sell, however, you'll find them at flea markets, swap meets, thrift stores, and even yard sales. But just because they're out there doesn't mean that we get to list and sell these on eBay. In fact, if you go on to ebay.com and search for these, you'll see people selling just the boxes or the parts. However, if you go a little bit further and dig in the product research, you'll see that eBay commonly removes these when they get posted. Posting something like this and trying to sell something like this on eBay could lead to your account getting suspended. And this brings us to number 1, selling prohibited or restricted items. Certain things are just never allowed to be sold on eBay. Things such as medical devices, recalled electronics, hazardous material, and weapons. And even if you don't know that it's banned, eBay's automatic system can detect listings, find your listing, and remove it. Most of the times, this first time is just a warning. They'll let you know that they removed this item because it breaks the policy. However, if you continue to list that same item or similar items, that's when eBay starts to take it a little more serious, and it could end up leading to a suspension or a permanent ban. So it's best to read up on what items you're actually allowed to sell on the eBay platform and what items you're not allowed to sell. And if you're unsure of whether you can or can't sell an item, the way I like to do it is I first start off with a simple Google search. If I see other people in forums or on Facebook groups talking about that they got this item removed, I'm just not going to list it on eBay. Or if I'm still unsure, I'll actually reach out to eBay and ask them, is this an item that breaks policy? Number 2, selling counterfeit or trademark infringement items. You can't sell fake or counterfeit items on eBay. That's pretty self-explanatory. However, eBay's Vero program goes a little bit further, and there are certain brands that you're just not allowed to resell on eBay, regardless of whether they're legit or not. I talk about this a lot more in this video here, and my opinion on the Vero program just doesn't really matter. Even though I completely disagree with how eBay runs this program, it doesn't change the fact that we have to follow the rules and policies. The way I handle this is, one, I just don't sell fake items. If I don't know if the item's real or legit, I just will not list it on eBay. And then to avoid the Vero takedowns of companies claiming that an item is fake or unauthorized to sell the item, I know certain brands that I can and can't sell, and then the ones that do end up getting taken down, I never list that item again. Typically, the first time is a warning from eBay saying, hey, this was a Vero takedown, you're not allowed to list or sell this item or this brand. But if you continue to list that item or that brand, that's when you can end up with different account suspensions or even permanent bans from eBay. So always remember, if you get a Vero takedown, never sell that item or brand ever again. Number 3, shill bidding or auction manipulation. So this is when you have someone else or yourself run up the bids on an eBay auction. So you have a friend that goes in and bids just to drive the price higher. Not only is this against eBay policy, but in many states, this is actually a criminal offense that you could face repercussions for. This is something that you should just avoid doing at all costs. There is no reason to be faking bids just to drive your price of your items higher. Be honest, find good items that people actually want, and your items will sell for the correct prices. There's no need to risk your account by creating fake demand for your items. Number 4, feedback manipulation. It is against eBay's terms of service to buy feedback, create fake feedback, or even threaten the use of negative feedback. This goes for both buyers and sellers. The sellers commonly can get in trouble by creating what I call fake positive reviews. So what they'll do is, if they have a bad buyer who buys something, returns something, and they're not happy, it's against eBay policy to leave a buyer negative feedback. But what sellers will end up doing is going in and leaving a positive feedback, but the positive feedback just says a bunch of negative things like, this is a scammer buyer, avoid this buyer, bad buyer, all those kinds of things. Now, I see this from time to time on different buyers' feedback scores. However, if it's reported to eBay and they see this, you can get in trouble for it, as it is against eBay's terms of service. And honestly, I understand the frustration. You got scammed, it was a bad buyer, he returned the item. You just want to warn other people, so you leave that negative, positive feedback. However, it's just not worth risking your account. Report that buyer to eBay and move on. Number 5, fee avoidance. So the most common way this is done is by a seller or a buyer messaging each other and saying, hey, send me a Venmo, or trying to communicate off of the eBay platform, sending them your email or your phone number, just so that you can sell the item off of the eBay platform to avoid paying fees. This is a huge no-no. eBay takes this very seriously because it hits them in their pocketbook. They want those fees. They got the customer and you together, so they actually earn those fees. If you are trying to avoid fees and eBay catches on, you can have your account suspended or even permanently banned. Number 6, falsifying tracking information. It is our job to ship items out using tracking, and the tracking has to be uploaded on time. If you create a bunch of fake tracking numbers or lie about when you shipped items out or try to manipulate the shipping in any form, it's against eBay policy. One of the common things I see sellers talk about is just print the label and ship it when you have time. eBay is not looking at when you printed the label to determine when you ship the item out. They're looking at that first carrier scan. That's why it's so important to get those scans when you drop your items off at the post office or your other shipping providers. Printing the label doesn't count as the item being shipped out, and if it comes down to it and the buyer doesn't get the item in the correct time frame and the buyer complains, eBay is only going to look at that carrier scan. So despite what many sellers say of just print the label and ship it when you have time, that is completely bad advice and it is not recommended. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any future content. Number 7, poor seller metrics. Now, most of the time, poor seller metrics isn't going to lead to your account being banned. However, it can lead to you paying more in fees and losing certain privileges. If you fall below standard on your seller metrics, or if you have a lot of INAD, items not as described, or items not received cases, both of those can affect your seller score, your seller rating, and how much you pay in fees in certain categories. So in my opinion, it's best to just make sure that you're describing your items accurately and shipping your items out on time. Things happen and it's not uncommon to have a few dings on your account. And if you end up dropping below standard, do everything you can to get back to standard rating. But it is best to just know what eBay is tracking and how you can avoid ending up in the doghouse in the first place. Number 8, misrepresentation of products. It is against eBay policy to lie about the condition of a product. It is against eBay policy to say an item is brand new when the item is clearly used. It is against eBay policy to say something about the item that isn't true. So be truthful in your listing, in your description, and accurately describe the item you're selling, and you shouldn't have any issues with this one. Number 9, search manipulation. So this policy is so that you don't just keyword spam your titles. So it is against eBay policy to go on there and to put keywords in your title that have nothing to do with the item you're selling. So if I was selling this jacket that's a Patagonia jacket, I couldn't put the word Arc'teryx in it. That would be manipulating the search results. And buyers hate it and eBay hates it. You might think that you're tricking the buyer into finding your Patagonia jacket instead of your Arc'teryx jacket, or your Walmart jacket instead of a Patagonia jacket. However, if eBay catches you doing this, it is against eBay policy. Number 10, selling stolen merchandise. This one's kind of self-explanatory, but it's against eBay policy to sell stolen items. And eBay makes it very clear that they do cooperate with law enforcement. So if you're thinking of offloading a bunch of stolen goods, eBay is not the place to do it. Number 11, misrepresentation of identity. It is against eBay policy to use a fake name, a fake business, or create a fake address or anything else to mislead the account details. Once again, you can avoid this by just being truthful and giving eBay your actual information. Not only does eBay need it to make sure everyone stays safe on the platform, but they also need it to report tax information. Number 12, VPNs and public Wi-Fi. This one catches a lot of sellers off guard. eBay is constantly looking at where traffic is coming from and tracking your account. They believe a third party has accessed your account. They may restrict that account. And if eBay thinks that you are related to another scammer or someone, they may actually ban your account because they think the two accounts are related. This often happens when people are using VPNs or public Wi-Fi. Think about this. You go to an Airbnb and you start using their Wi-Fi. eBay says, oh wow, this account is now related to this address or this IP address. And what eBay looks at is says, this IP address used to be linked to a scammer. This new account is now linked to this scam account, and they shut down your account. It's best to just stay on your own secure network. Using a VPN can change your IP address and can make eBay think that you're someone that you're not, and can relate your account to a scammer or to someone else that's already been blocked from the eBay platform. Number 13, evading a suspension. So if you get hit with a suspension, a warning, or have any kind of issue with the eBay platform, and you say, you know what, eBay's charging me more fees on this one now because I haven't delivered the items on time, I'll just go create a new account. That is a huge no-no, and it can turn something as simple as a warning or even just a period of time where you have to pay more in fees to a permanent lifetime suspension. Obviously, eBay is punishing you for some kind of behavior or policy violation. And if you try to outsmart them and go create more accounts or a different account, they will eventually catch on, whether that's tracking the devices you're using, your IP address, your tax information, whatever it is. If they can link that together, they're going to ban both accounts, and more than likely, it's going to be a permanent suspension. So if you get hit or you get in trouble for something on the eBay platform, Don't try to outsmart them. Own up to your mistakes, learn from it, and move forward. Now, there are a ton of other eBay policies and rules that you have to follow as a reseller, and I can't fit them all into one video. So it's very likely that I'll be doing a part 2. So make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss that video. And remember, if you ever have a question about a policy or a procedure, don't ask me, don't ask people in the comment section, don't ask a Facebook group. Reach out to eBay. They are the ones with the actual accurate information. Everyone else is just sharing from their personal experiences. They may share incorrect information. Let me know down in the comments if you've run into any of these issues, if you've ever been banned or suspended from eBay, and what the outcome of your cases were. And if you enjoyed this video, I think you're going to love this one. So go ahead and give it a click.